Today we're going to talk about the X factor. And the concept of X factor has been around for a long time. And there was a book written by Vern Harnish called Mastering the Rockefeller Habits. And he kind of really elaborates on that X factor, that topic, that concept, and what does that have to do with you and how to resolve that. So, you know, I will never forget, because I was in Canada speaking at an event. It was one of my first big events to speak at, and Vern was the speaker before me. Oh my gosh, I was so mortified to have to go on that stage and talk after he finished. But anyway, Rockefeller habits. So he talks about the X factor, and the X factor, basically, the way he describes it is, you know, what is the choke point in your business or your industry? You know, and it's another word would be bottleneck. Where are you choked up in your business, in your industry, and then how to get past that? So the examples, one of the examples that he gives is Rockefeller at that time saw a choke point, if you will, in his industry, and it was around the cost of transportation. So at that time, he had a significant interest in reducing the cost of transportation. And to make a long story short, he needed to reduce the cost of transportation, because at that time, the cost for transporting crude oil was expensive. And also he knew if he could resolve that problem, handle that choke point, then he would win the battle. So his competition was producing barrels and then transporting the raw materials just like they were. But what he decided to do was produce oak barrels, and then he would send them through a special process like an oven. And I found this very interesting, because what this did was, by putting them in an oven, it actually reduced the weight of the barrels. So whenever he would transport the oil for them, guess what happened? The cost went down significantly. And so he found the choke point, what needed to be done, came up with the solution, and the rest is history. So the reason why I'm sharing this with you today is because an example in the X factor in direct sales would be, you know, where is the choke point? And in direct sales, it's been discovered that the choke point is really personal development, that is what is needed in order to help that person be excellent in direct sales. And everybody's not in direct sales, but as you develop yourself, your income will increase. So does your charisma, so does your magnetism, and just everything typically around you gets better. And I'll give you a personal story here. So, you know, I was in the insurance industry for 19 years in Dallas and climbed my way up the ladder. And when I started working on myself, personal development, and I've told this story many times, I didn't go in there to work on money. I just didn't. I went in there to basically develop myself, get better, just as a person. And so as I did that, all the aspects in my life got better. My income actually increased by 30% when I got really, really serious about it. I mean, that's a lot of money, 30% increase in 1 year, and I'm just working on me. And then my relationships with my family, just all those aspects of life got better. Business, myself, and then my relationships. And so as you're looking at what you're doing, where is the X factor in your life? Where are the spots that you find like you're stopped, choked up, bottlenecked? Take a look at personal development from this aspect. So another thing that's really, really key here is you need to be able to control your mind. And there's more to controlling your mind than just being present or being really, really focused. It's connected to having a vision, a very clear vision of what you want. If you don't have a clear vision, that sets you up to have negative thoughts. And oh my gosh, you can get truckloads of negative thoughts. And from that point, once you get into that, any kind of hope or positive vision of you being able to create is, I mean, it's not there. The negativity is there instead. So the vision, and why this is so important is because the vision, and Alan talks about this, my great mentor, the vision, your vision is the software for the mind. And if you think about a brand new laptop that has no, and you guys know I'm not tech savvy, no icons, no software or anything on it, then when you turn, I mean, like nothing, when you turn it on, the screen's going to be blank. Same thing happens with you as a person. That vision that you have is the software for your mind, and it actually controls your mind. So if your mind is like a runaway train sometime and then bombarded with negative thoughts and not able to act and really get what you want, I would go back to your vision. What is your vision? So on the vision, there's 3 important characteristics of the vision. I want you to think big picture. It's going to include your environment. It's going to include, excuse me, it's going to include those relationships. It's going to include your profession. And then it's also going to include what are you going to give to the whole entire world once you implement that vision. It needs to be, your vision needs to be in full color. You're spiritually creating that. The amount of wealth, how your health would look like, how your happiness would look like, what kind of position you'll have in society, what kind of success levels you'll have. And some of those success levels will probably maybe outside of your reach, okay, or outside your wildest imagination. I know when I got into the subject, oh my gosh, you know, the thought of having 3 different locations that you could go in and, you know, stay in was so outside of my control. But when I started working with Alan, I did have that. I had 3 locations that I could stay at any time. So it really gave me a lot of space, if you will. But I remember him talking to me about that, and that was like, huh, what are you talking about? I can't imagine having 3 locations. Well, I did have 3 locations. So it's just a different mindset. And if you've never thought about those things, then you're not going to be able to include that into your vision. So the vision is a 3-dimensional image, if you will, spiritually created by you, with all the colors, all the feelings, the amount of wealth, like I said, and health, and who do you want included in that, and helping you get outside of your box to think of making that impossible, that impossibility a possibility. But this is where it starts. So on Friday, January the 31st, we have a wonderful event called Set Up for Success. And it's going to be connected to what I just shared with you, that vision, so that you can set yourself up in 2025 for a super successful year getting what you wanted. But it's a step-by-step process. It's only a 4-step process, okay, to actually do this. And I already know some people on my team that's implementing it on their teams, and I've got stats that show that, wow, they are winning. Their numbers, their production has gone up. So this is what's happening January the 31st. Stay tuned. The process was designed by Alan himself, Alan C. Walter, and I cannot wait to help you set yourself up for success and you owning and creating the kind of visions you want. Hey, have a great week. See you next week.